Welcome to the SNN Network Summer Virtual Event, the premier virtual event in MicroCap finance. Our next presenting company is Thunderbird Entertainment. It is my pleasure to turn the floor over to Jennifer McCarran, CEO of Thunderbird Entertainment. Jennifer, the floor is yours.
Thanks so much for having us here today. Thunderbird Entertainment is a high-quality global content company. We create, own, and distribute award-winning factual, animated, and scripted content worldwide. We are well on our way to becoming the next major global studio and have over 250 partnerships such as Netflix, HBO Max, Apple, Disney, Discovery Channel, NBC Universal, Peacock, and many more. Featured here on this slide is our New York Times adapted best-selling book, Last Kids on Earth, always on the New York Times top 10 bestseller list with Diary of a Wimpy Kid and Harry Potter, so good company. Last Kids on Earth is currently airing on Netflix, and our console video games went live on June 4th, and the game is featured in Target's national circular this week and sold out on Amazon. Currently, our interactive special with the Choose Your Own Adventure technology we developed with Netflix is streaming in the top 10 of all Netflix shows, not just kids and family. This summer, Last Kids on Earth won the Emmy Award for Best Outstanding Special Class Animated Program, and we are so proud of our team. Our mission, going past our forward-looking statements, our mission is to create content that makes the world a better place, makes people happy, and provides a much-needed escape, especially during these unprecedented times. A great example of our mission and style of content is Princesses Wear Pants, featured here. This is a show we've developed with Savannah Guthrie from the Today Show, Ali Oppenheim, her husband Noah Oppenheim runs NBC News, and Drew Barrymore. A New York Times best-selling book series, this work is a new take on princesses featuring diversity, inclusivity, and leadership. It's been set up at a major streamer, I'm sure you can guess which one, as their only princess show to go head-to-head with Disney's entire princess line. If this show takes off, as we hope it will, we will be there to benefit from all the sales of merchandise, gaming, etc. And I'm sure any of you listening in with young kids understand how popular the genre can be. Last summer, we won the prestigious Peabody Award for our work with diversity and inclusivity, nominated alongside shows you may recognize like Stranger Things, Succession, and Fleabag. The Peabody honors the most powerful, enlightening, and invigorating stories of the year. Recently, our studio also won the Kids Screen Award for Best Inclusivity. Our goal is for every man, woman, child of every gender and ethnicity to see themselves in popular content reflected back in a positive light. Not only is this the right thing to do, it's proving to be extremely good for business. We are well on our way to being recognized as a major global studio, and never has there been a better time to be in the content creation business. Moving forward to our executive summary, we're a microcap company with revenues over $80 million, increasing over 40% in fiscal year 20, and EBITDA over $15.5 million, increasing over 20% in fiscal year 20, and we're growing. In Q3, our fiscal 2021, we'd already reported revenue of $85 million and EBITDA of $17.3 million. In Q3, we had already surpassed our revenue and EBITDA growth from 2020, and Q4 will be released this October. Our award-winning team of 1,000 artists is based in Los Angeles, Vancouver, Ottawa, Toronto, and last summer, in addition to the Peabody and the Emmy, we won the Television's Critics Award, and Fast Company added us to its list of 2020's most innovative companies to watch, and we are on Canadian Business Magazine's list of fastest growing companies. Our extensive library continues to generate recurring revenue for us from names such as Kim's Convenience, Da Vinci's Code, Beatbugs, Game of Homes, and more. With new alliances with toy and gaming companies, we are further able to leverage our IP and content into the world of merchandise, gaming, and microtransactions, which will open up new and possibly very lucrative revenue streams for our company. The two main drivers of the company are Atomic Cartoons, our kids and family division, with shows like Beatbugs, Last Kids on Earth, Hello Ninja, just announced Dogs in Space with Netflix, and more. Great Pacific is our factual and documentary style division with hits like Highway Through Hell, Save My Reno, and more. We're uniquely positioned in that both factual and kids and family are the cornerstone of each streamer's strategy to glue that key co-viewing audience. which is essentially families gathering at home to watch content together. This is the stickiest of all demographics, and people are less likely to subscribe and unsubscribe when kids and family are glued. For example, the kids' hit property, Coco Melon, which we're actually servicing the work on, with its nursery rhymes, generates over 2 billion views per month on YouTube. Netflix saw that and licensed compilations of these videos, and they have been one of the 10 most popular shows in one country or other for all but a handful of days this year. Contrast this with successful scripted programming for adults like Bridgerton or Lupin, where the biggest hits are popular for several days and then eclipsed by the next show. We have zero corporate debt, and our free cash flow increased $12.3 million in fiscal year 20. And we're young, we're nimble, and we're growing. Scaling and profitability. This slide illustrates our phenomenal growth, and we have great visibility of this pace of growth through 22 and into 23. The picture here is of our Lego Star Wars Holiday Special that we developed with Lucasfilm and Lego, and it dropped November 17th on Disney+. Bob Iger sent our team a note saying he couldn't tell the difference between our special and some of the feature work. As you can imagine, the team was thrilled. Moving on to our company overview. We were founded in 2003 with creating a mission of creating libraries to lift and fund IP exploitation and create major global brands. In 2014, Great Pacific Media was acquired, and in 2016, Atomic Cartoons was acquired. And the original mission remains very much alive today, as our major global brands delight audiences around the world and are increasingly moving into ancillary business like distribution, consumer products, toys, and video games. We've had such incredible success with these two acquisitions, and we're always on the lookout to make more. Taking a look at our experienced executive team, Barb, Sarah, and myself are all highly operational, all having grown up in this industry. And Matt and Richard are key for us being in Los Angeles with the push for IP ownership and ancillary business and an ever-commanding presence in LA, nurturing relationships with all of our key buyers. Taking a closer look at both of our divisions, at Atomic Cartoons, we produce high-end content across multiple 2D and 3D pipelines and genres, spanning preschool, comedy, action-adventure, adult animation, and everything in between. Taking a look at some of our titles, which you recognize, Rick and Morty, Lego Jurassic World, Hilda, My Little Pony, Curious George, 101 Dalmatians, just to name a few. We're increasing our IP ownership, providing ancillary revenue in toys, merchandise, music, and gaming. And in addition to the more recent partnerships like Princesses Wear Pants, we have a feature film partnership with the writers from The Simpsons that we own, and there's some good announcements coming. We're also working with Reese Witherspoon's company, Hello Sunshine. You may have seen the remarkable sale this past weekend from fame like Big Little Lies to open up their kids and family division with an emphasis on diversity and inclusivity. Taking a closer look at Great Pacific Media, we're a global leader in factual television, widely considered best in class. Almost 100% owned IP is developed by award-winning journalists with an eye for authenticity and truth-telling in our Vancouver studio. Highway Through Hell, which is featured here, is going into its 10th season with more to come. Here's a look at some of our amazing titles that you recognize: Save My Reno, Daily Planet, Untold Stories of the ER, just to name a few. Again, we almost own 100% of our remarkable IP and have an almost unbeatable renewal rate. Highway Through Hell is one of the most independently owned, unsuccessful, unscripted brands in the world, with two spin-offs you may have seen, Rescue 401 and the newly released Mud Mountain. Taking a look at our consumer products and distribution division, on January 11th, we were thrilled to announce the hire of industry heavyweight Richard Goldsmith. Well regarded as one of the best in the industry, having worked at Disney, Warner Brothers, the Jim Henson Company, Richard joined our company because he saw the incredible work taking place. I had many calls that week we announced from Netflix and Disney saying, wow, how did you guys hire Richard? This new division will allow us to further increase and exploit our IP ownership in video games merch, all cross-media exploitation, and increase ownership as we distribute content around the globe. Announced properties like Mermacorno from Tokidoki, the insanely popular Japanese lifestyle brand, will be set up under this division, and instead of hiring a third-party consumer products and distribution company, we'll be able to further increase and leverage ownership to Thunderbird. Additionally, we can now serve as a distributor and consumer products agent for other companies requiring this expertise, furthering opening up new lines of business for us. We see this as completely synergistic with our own productions. World-class talent. This is my favorite slide because as a content creation company, we're absolutely nothing without the amazing talent and creative force that we work with. People have joined us from Disney, DreamWorks, National Geographic, and Pixar, just to name a few. They're coming to Thunderbird because they see something special happening and want to be part of this amazing journey that we're on. Our response to COVID is of note because we managed to successfully transition 100% of staff to home in March of 2020 without missing a beat or any deliveries. At a time where many companies unfortunately stumbled, we didn't miss one delivery or create any cost overages for any of our partners, only deepening their trust in us as a high-quality, high-integrity studio. We're compliant with Tier 1 security, such as Disney's, and in a time while live action can't still always reliably shoot with 200 people on a film set is tough, our two main drivers, animation and factual, can work virtually and have thrived at this time. Our IT and pipeline teams have done such a great job that last month Netflix asked our team to present to their team on TBRD and how we ensured such a safe and efficient workflow. We've increased benefits for our workforce, especially around mental health, and are working to do our smart part as good corporate citizens to take care of everyone that we can. Additionally, we used to think of our studio by capacity. How many people can we fit into a building? Now if we're offered a show that we love and have passion for, we know we can go for it as we're no longer confined to our 4 studio walls. Here's our demand for COVID-19 streaming boom. It was strong before, and now it's through the roof. I'm sure many of you listening in have crushed more Netflix than you ever thought possible. It's definitely helped me over the last year with homeschooling and a break from the somewhat depressing news cycle. In fact, Netflix had 89 million subscribers in 2016, 231 million in 2021, and are predicting 374 million by 2027. Disney has topped more than 100 million subscribers just 16 months after they launched, already beating their 3-year projections, and they're predicting 260 million subscribers by 2024. The power of content is tremendous. Touching on diversity and inclusivity, we're so proud of the shows that highlight characters from diverse backgrounds. Queen of the Oil Patch and Molly of Denali, Kim's Convenience. In Molly, we worked with over 60 Indigenous actors, writers, and producers from Denali in Alaska, many of which are now working full-time in the industry today. We continue to focus on safe and healthy workforce, keeping diversity and inclusion at the forefront of our culture. Featured here are many initiatives that we have underway at Atomic Cartoons. We strive to be good industry leaders in D&I, and not only is it the right thing to do, it really is good for business. A Boston Consulting Group study of more than 1,700 companies around the world showed that diversity increases the capacity for innovation by expanding the range of the company's ideas and options, leading to better financial performance. Of the 1,700 companies, those reporting above average diversity on their management teams had EBITDA margins that were 9 points higher than those with companies with below average diversity. With our newfound ability to have crew work from home, we are further able to recruit and offer opportunities to diverse talent. We are now able to hire people who may not have been able to move to one of the cities in which we're located. Thanks to the work from home tech boom, we can remove geography as a barrier to diversification. At Great Pacific Media, we also are very proud to have industry-wide be known as leaders in our space. 40% of our staff is female, 50% is male, and 10% is gender fluid. Content is a way to change the narrative, enforce the messaging of diversity and inclusivity, and as content providers, we have a responsibility to get it right. Here we go, taking a look at our industry landscape. The launch of 5G has been a real game changer. It's like going from a garden hose to a fire hose in terms of being able to download content anywhere, anytime, on any device. And the new players that have come online are not startups. These are major global players like Apple and Disney. and they're getting into it because they see the huge success of Netflix and what a massively lucrative and exciting business it is. Content spending is on the rise. These are published commitments to content spending, and they're huge. Netflix alone commissions more than 1,000 pieces of original programming per year. Stay-at-home spending continues to boom. Subscription, streaming, electronic sell-through, that's where consumers pay a one-time fee to download media like owning Elf or a movie like that forevermore. And video on demand, using internet to stream on televisions and personal computers. Now more than ever, there's a need for diversified and high-quality content to feed this stay-at-home boom. And people are at home watching content. Even post-pandemic, the days of crowding into movie theaters are likely forever altered. Recently, Disney released the Marvel movie Black Widow simultaneously in theaters and on Disney+. It grossed $215 million in its first weekend, with strong showings on both the large and small screens. Domestically, it earned $80 million in theaters and over $60 million in rentals. This hybrid strategy allowed for those viewers in areas with COVID concerns or they just want to stay home and relax to enjoy the opening weekend experience at home, and is paving the way to make this a new normal. Moving on to our industry drivers. Much of this I've already touched on, but the headline is this: the industry's on fire, booming, and growth is coming from all countries and regions around the world, not just North America. Thunderbird is uniquely positioned with our strong relationships and incredible reputation to fully capitalize on this exploding growth curve. As previously noted, kids and family programming stays in the top 10 lists of streamers much longer. Kids don't move on to the next biggest thing as quickly as adults. This type of programming has longevity on all of the platforms. A sampling of our customers, we're in over 200 territories, 40 different languages. And taking a look at our business models, I really love this slide as it breaks down the business of Thunderbird. These are our three buckets we work in. Intellectual property, example would be Highway Through Hell, Last Kids on Earth, Convenience. That's when we own the copyright forevermore. We develop the property, sell it to a buyer, and then we can fully leverage it to toys, video games, cross-media exploitation, you name it. Service is when we're hired to execute on projects like 101 Dalmatians, or before that, Donald Duck. We're doing Spider-Man for Disney right now. These are 100% cash flow. We're paid handsomely on top of a producer fee. And on top of that, when we do a great job in service, we can turn around and sell our own IP. Increasingly, we're also seeing the partnership models, and that's where we're hired to handle everything, creative through writing, post-production, and more. All of the streamers have to turn on so much content, they can't handle it all themselves and need companies like Thunderbird to handle everything. An example here would be Hello Ninja, which went on to be the most streamed kids show in November 2019 and again in January of 21 on Netflix. As a result of that heavy lifting, we participate in the ownership of games, consumer products, merch, all cross-media exploitation. Taking a look at our libraries, substantial additional library like Cold Squad and Da Vinci's Inquest adds nicely to our total revenues. These titles are distributed around the world and add to our healthy cash flow with international library sales and music publishing. Tax incentives. A wonderful part of being a Canadian domiciled company are the incredible tax incentives that have been around for well over 30 years. There was a new bill introduced in November of 2020 by the Canadian government, which requires streamers to invest in and buy a certain percentage of Canadian content. Streamers will go with their trusted partners like Thunderbird. As a result, this will just further allow us to turn on more of our own IP. Moving on to our financial overview. Our condensed balance sheets, our cash position is strong, and we have zero debt. Again, our revenue was over $80 million compared to $57 million in fiscal year 20, and revenue, EBITDA, and free cash flow continue to increase. Trading information and capital structures, corporate debt is nothing. We are nimble and able to be opportunistic in these times. A large contingent of dedicated insider ownership who believe in and champion our story. And we're just still only less than a year into our IR journey with Bristol and are thrilled to be getting our story out to the world. Our growth opportunities, where are we going? This is my favorite slide. We're continuing to develop and acquire IP with over 50 projects coming up through our pipeline. There's some really good announcements coming. This IP can be leveraged into all forms of recurring revenue, like microtransactional games, mobile games, console games, toys, bed sheets, ice skating shows, you name it. Our presence in LA continues to expand due to unprecedented demand from the streamers. Being in LA gives us access to top talent in the heart of the industry. Being able to execute in Canada at top level is an unbeatable proposition. We're expanding into animated feature films. There's a huge market now for in-home theater. Reed Hastings, the CEO of Netflix, credits increased fourth quarter earnings that beat analyst expectations on revenue and net subscriber additions on the power of the family movie. We're opening up, as you know, our own consumer products and distribution division in LA, only further increases ownership for us and our ability to leverage and exploit top-tier IP. Increasing presence in territories around the world through M&A. We're heavily looking at companies in Southeast Asia or Europe, where Netflix and Disney have recently announced they're focusing on their new subscriptions and they need content from these regions. By having ownership in these areas, we can recognize the content and run it through our burgeoning consumer products and distribution division. And M&A is always on our minds. How can we complement our existing businesses with something creative and strategic? Great Pacific and Atomic have hit their stride, and we're on a lookout for the next label to land under Thunderbird. In summary, we're rapidly growing, highly profitable with greater than $15 million of adjusted EBITDA in fiscal year 20 and already over $17 million in the third quarter of fiscal year 21. Increasing ownership in major global brands is incredibly lucrative. The reason that Hasbro bought E1 for $5 billion is because of Peppa the Pig and PJ Masks. The value of these global brands is massive. Never has there been a better time to be in content, and I believe never has there been a better company than Thunderbird to capitalize on this amazing time and become the next major global studio. Thank you so much for joining me today.